All right, I guess we're going to get started here. First of all, I just want to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know, my name is Robert Clark, and I'm the extremely proud principal here at Fairport High School. And I want to welcome you here to FHS. For many of you, maybe this is the first time you've been back in quite some time. Undergoing a lot of changes, I imagine, as you look around. But we welcome you here to the 2018 induction for our Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame. And we're honored to be here today to celebrate some very special people to our Fairport family. You know, as a teacher and administrator now for 25 years, it never ceases to amaze me where the stories go. You know, they start here in 10th grade and they go on and they do such amazing things, and I know you all know that. You know, this year our theme is to make a difference. And I think what you're going to hear after this afternoon's or this evening's presentations is that all of these individuals have been making a difference for a very long time, and we are so proud to call them Raiders. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to our Master of Ceremonies. And just a quick note, a very big thank you to Mr. John Davis. Had a little bit of an accident last year, and we missed him for quite some time. So happy to have him back here in the saddle and ready to go. And this thing does not work without him and all of the members of the Alumni Wall of Fame Committee. So welcome back, John. Glad to have you back, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Clark. My name is John Davis, and I'm chairman of the Wall of Fame Committee. And the accident Mr. Clark was mentioning is last February. I slipped on some ice, and I fractured my ankle really bad. 12 screws and a plate later, though, I'm back on 2 feet, so all is well. And boy, homecoming weekend. I cannot get over this weather. You could not have asked for a more spectacular homecoming. The events of last night and in the gym yesterday were just spectacular. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful homecoming, and I welcome you to the class of 2018 inductees. I'm not going to talk for too long because really the students and student presenters are what make this so special and such a special event. For 22 years, we have been inducting members to the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, and I know your program mentions 60 inductees, but we're now up, actually, a little typo there, we're up over 90. And this sheet of paper that was on your desk kind of has, not on your desk, I feel like I'm in the classroom. Sorry. Lists the inductees by year, so you see some familiar names there. And one of the things I'm most proud of is we have inductees from all different professions and all different walks of life. Everything from authors and artists and doctors to inventors, poets, entrepreneurs, actors, historians, business leaders, bankers, attorneys, judges, fashion industry designers, writers, coaches, educators, musicians, government leaders, secretaries, movie directors, and even silversmiths. And we have honored national military heroes, to name a few. So people from all social classes and all walks of life, to show our current students at Fairport High School that whatever path they choose in life, that they too, as a graduate of Fairport High School, can be successful at whatever they choose, any direction they choose to go in. Being this is about students, and the kids have been working hard on their speeches for today. And yesterday, the inductees came into Fairport High School. We had lunch together. They met. Their student interviews took place, and a tour of old Fairport High School. And some haven't been back since the day they graduated. And some of them were mentioning the word surreal walking down the hallways. And some didn't even graduate from this building and graduated from either Minerva DeLand or West Avenue School. So it was a wonderful experience, and for the students. And then we finished off with a pep assembly in the gym. All right, our first presenter, Mr. Matt Leo, was a student of mine last year in U.S. history class. And Matt, before you come bolting up here, I just wanted to let the crowd know who you are. Matt is a wonderful, wonderful student, senior at Fairport High School. He was in my U.S. history class, as I mentioned. And some words to describe Matt. He is diligent, hardworking, wants to get things right. He's a fantastic student, and he's got a huge heart. When we would do group work in class, you know, I'd walk around the room and Matt would be teaching his group U.S. history, I don't know, maybe better than I could, but he was so talented. And I asked him early this year, what do you want to do with your life? And he said, I don't know, Mr. Davis, maybe air traffic controller or maybe a U.S. history teacher. So, Matt, come on up here. And
dedicated, caring, and humble. These are just a few words to describe Mr. Mike Beato. Whether it was right here in Fairport High School, raising his family, or working on the amazing charitable events he's involved in, Mr. Beato is truly deserving of being inducted in Fairport's Wall of Fame. Attending Fairport schools from kindergarten through his senior year, this time would help build the foundation of the man that he would become. After being cut several times from the basketball team, his perseverance and can-do attitude led him to not only make the team, but also be the captain of the varsity team his senior year. Many great teachers also helped in this process, including his algebra teacher, Mr. Barry Thorne. Mr. Thorne set the bar high, telling Mr. Beato that he expects 100% from you, and that included a perfect score on his algebra Regents exam. Not only did Mr. Beato earn that perfect score of 100%, he still lives by this standard every single day in his commitment to always work hard and as hard as possible. These experiences would help start Mr. Beato on a path to success. After earning his bachelor's at the State University of New York at Buffalo, Mr. Beato began his distinguished career at Eastman Kodak, traveling the world working on and installing new projects for his company. He would go on to help begin AdWorks Communications, as well as start his own technology company, Beato Enterprises Incorporated. Along those lines were also his teaching endeavors, which occurred at both Canisius College and at Buffalo, helping to educate the next group of communicators. From his groundbreaking work in these fields, Mr. Beato was given the distinct honor of being named the David I. Levy Communicator of the Year for the entire Western New York area, and has also been given several prestigious awards for his work. Among these impressive accomplishments, the induction into this Fairport Wall of Fame ranks among first. Beyond his success in the workplace, Mr. Beato has also shown his caring and generosity through his charitable and volunteer work. He has passionately been involved in his church, the Newman Center at the University of Buffalo, giving his time to help the organization for decades. He has also volunteered to help photograph and promote dozens of amazing charities and events throughout the greater Buffalo region. Another great event Mr. Beato involves himself with is the Flight for Air stair climb, of which he has participated in and raised money by climbing all 37 floors of the Seneca Tower, the tallest building in Buffalo. Proceeds here are given to the American Lung Association, a foundation near and dear to Mr. Beato's heart. Beginning at age 50, Mr. Beato took up a new pursuit, running, and he hasn't stopped since. Since 2006, he has completed in 540 races all over the area and has been honored for the impressive feat. Among these recognitions is the Century Award for competing in at least 100 races in the calendar year. Today, I would like to recognize Mr. Beato again for joining this club, having completed his 100th race this morning. This is a spectacular feat and one he should be very proud of. Beginning at age 50, Mr. Beato took up a new pursuit. Among all these amazing accomplishments, Mr. Beato's greatest accomplishment is his family. Beginning with growing up in Fairport, he would go on to start a family of his own. He and his wife, Jackie, have been happily married for 33 years. He has also raised two amazing sons, Matthew and Michael, both of whom have gone on to live impressive lives of their own, both academically and career-wise. I know Mr. Beato is honored not only to have them attending this event tonight, but all the members of his family who have traveled to be here. Mr. Beato has beyond distinguished himself throughout his life, whether it be right here in Fairport, the successful career he has created for himself, his numerous charitable endeavors, or his loving family. His strong, dedicated work ethic combined with his caring, charitable persona has made him an amazing person he is. He is a role model, pillar in his community, and loving and caring husband and father. And so it is my honor to introduce to you the newest member of the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, Mr. Mike Beato.
Great job, Matt. Our next presenter is Julia Gullo. Julia is an actress in school plays. She's a dancer and studies dance, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful, mature, responsible, caring kid. Come on up, Julia.
I'm wearing heels, but I'm not that tall. Okay. Our next inductee tonight is Robert E. Finnerty. The first thing he did when I met him was give me this lampion from when he attended school here at FHS. The Lampion, for those of you who do not know, is our school newspaper. During his years at Fairport, not only was he the sports editor of the Lampion, but he played varsity football and also enjoyed baseball. He loved playing in the infamous Little Brown Jug games that felt like playing big-time college football to him. Although football was something wonderful he cared about, writing in high school was what truly started his career in communications. He was a pretty shy teenager and only really broke out of that towards the end of his senior year. But he was placed in a competitive environment, and the number of brilliant students here at Fairport was overwhelming. But without it, Mr. Finnerty says he would not have been able to be ready from where he went to college, Purdue College, a school with over 30,000 attendees. He would also like to note it's amazing that 45 years later, Clausen's is still up and running. At Purdue, Mr. Finnerty was a sports editor of the Purdue Exponent, led coverage of Purdue athletics as well as Big Ten Conference athletics. He received a BA in communications, leading to his job out of college as a reporter in Rome, New York. He worked for the Rome Daily Sentinel for a year before landing a job at the Democrat and Chronicle as an assistant metro editor and reporter. He supervised reporters covering many stories and was one when it came to police and courts, village government, and higher education. In 1986, he was promoted to an executive management team for an award-winning newspaper and managed a metro department of more than 50 people. He also became a lead editor for an investigative report that led to overturning the conviction of a woman in prison. She had served 25 years and was the longest-serving woman to be released, all due to his reporting. Up until 2002, Mr. Finnerty worked in this position. He became a project editor for an award-winning series, as well as a newsroom ethics and First Amendment trainer. Through his work as a police reporter-editor, he was able to meet many families that had suffered great tragedy. He covered many horrific events, and this, though devastating, was incredibly important to him. Exposure to these families led him to be a part of the advisory board for the Families and Friends of Murdered Children from 1997 to 2002. Today, Mr. Finnerty is the Chief Communications Officer at RIT. He has served 3 RIT presidents in this position, leading to the university to the top 100 National Research University status. He promotes RIT's reputation, advises the president and administrative team of RIT on executive marketing as it relates to public relations, advertising, and much more. He is the editor of RIT's research magazine Campus Newsletter, blog and speechwriter for RIT's president, including the Huffington Post, and is responsible for lead media convergence when dignitaries, including former U.S. presidents as well as congressional leaders, are visiting. Mr. Finnerty also coordinates communication efforts with RIT's global campuses in Croatia, Kosovo, and Dubai. He's responsible for enhancing RIT's image globally and nationally in the last 16 years. Not only does he work there, but in 2003 to 2007, he attended classes for his MS in marketing with a 4.0 GPA. Mr. Finnerty received 90-plus Public Relations Society of America awards in higher education, was the Business Journal 40 Under 40 honoree, an RIT Staff Alumnus of the Year, and was awarded numerous times through the Council of the Advancement and Support of Education. He also continued with his love of sports by managing American Legion Baseball, Monroe County Babe Ruth Baseball for 14 years, as well as coaching for the Greece Youth Basketball Association for 5 years. With all of these incredible accomplishments, Mr. Finnerty still made sure he acknowledged his family. He was definitely most excited when I talked to him about his kids. All 3 were valedictory speakers in high school and went to college. His wife of 26 years couldn't be here today because she was visiting their oldest in California, but he wanted to acknowledge her. One of his greatest role models he especially wanted to talk about, in fact he said he should have been given this award today, is his father. Although not an alumni of Fairport, his father was the chief financial officer and treasurer of Fairport School District for 30-plus years. From the 60s to the 90s, he helped to plan and build Fairport schools. He would also like to recognize his sister, Beth McCourt, who has dedicated 20 years to Fairport schools and has taught for a total of 30 years. The last person Mr. Finnerty would like to especially recognize today is an old friend that passed away 4 years ago. John Scarpelli was a friend of Mr. Finnerty's from Fairport High School. They met because of the Lampion that started the arc of being a writer for him. That never changed and continues to be the job he puts his life into every day. And so it's my honor to introduce to you the newest member of Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, Robert E. Finnerty.
Great job, Julia. Our next presenter is also a senior at Fairport High School, Hallie Sachs. And Hallie's interests include volleyball. She's taking several AP courses here at the high school. She just got back from Washington, D.C. from the leadership trip. And both of Hallie's parents are graduates of Fairport High School. And she has a pretty famous dad, Kevin Sachs. Thank you so much for, Kevin is a colleague of mine and an incredibly respected member of the faculty here at Fairport High School. So thanks for all you've done. Hallie, come on up.
Here in Fairport, we often hear of the phrases, once a Raider, always a Raider, and Fairport family, and I can think of no better person that embodies these mottos than Pat Knapp. For nearly all of her life, Mrs. Knapp has lived in Fairport, and many of her relatives have gone through the Fairport school system as well. She values her family very highly and marks her greatest accomplishment as being a wife, mother, and grandmother. She has seen the community morph into what it has become today, both during her time in school and in her adulthood. Mrs. Knapp graduated from Fairport in 1960. One of the most memorable changes to the school system during her high school years was moving the high school from West Avenue into Minerva DeLand. However, this was just one minor change in the Fairport community that Mrs. Knapp was involved in. In her adulthood, she was a village trustee from 1975 to 1981, and a town council person from 1981 to 2013. During her time in office, she was influential in many big changes to Fairport that now shape the lives of its citizens today. New trail systems, the development of Fairport Village Landing, and the betterment of Village Hall. She never wanted Fairport to stop improving. Also, Patricia S. Knapp Amphitheater in Center Park was named after her, which is very fitting because it is often a place where the Fairport community can come together and achieve the sense of togetherness that Mrs. Knapp is all about. Some of the accomplishments that she is most proud of are being named the New York State Senate Woman of the Year in 2002 and the Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year in 2006. She also deems volunteering as a very important part of her life. She has undertook leadership roles in many of these organizations as well. These include Vice President of the Fairport Parrington Senior Living Council and Vice President of the Fairport Parrington Partnership for a Better Community. But that is only a small portion of what Mrs. Knapp was involved in the Fairport community. She has been involved in over a dozen more volunteer-based organizations throughout her adulthood. She is very proud to be involved in so many activities that help better the community. She believes that people she looked up to as a young girl has helped shape her into the person that she is today. Her biggest role models have been JFK, her grandmother, and many of the teachers from her school. JFK inspired her because he was a young leader, and because of this, he strived to keep the young people involved. Mrs. Knapp's grandmother lived with her and was a very influential figure in her life. She was a teacher, and so she made sure that her granddaughter was on top of all of her schoolwork and always pushed her to do her best. Mrs. Knapp said that some of the most influential teachers in her life were her art teacher, Esda Street, her Latin teacher, Esley Lawler, and her English teacher, Mary Deedy, and even her principal, Mr. Whitty. However, these are only a few of the teachers that she loved. She says that she has never had a teacher at Fairport that she didn't like, and she even struggled to pick favorites because every teacher that she had in school truly cared about their students as people. Mrs. Knapp's dedication can also be seen in her relationships with people from the community. She married her high school sweetheart, Warren Knapp, and is still in contact with more of 10 of her former classmates. This is, again, a testament to why she perfectly represents the Fairport family ideal. She has traveled on cruises all over the world with her husband, but has always returned to Fairport, where she feels the most at home and connected. I feel so honored to be able to introduce someone who has such a big impact on the Fairport community. Her advice to everyone is to be open to change and to always smile because it will get you far in life. I believe her care for the community and her positive outlook on life are what have made it possible for her to accomplish so much, and so it is my honor to introduce you to the newest member of the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, Pat Knapp.
Great job, Hallie. Patricia Knapp's uncle is on the Alumni Wall of Fame, and it was grandfather. I'm sorry. No. The Knapp family goes way back, parenting. Our next presenter, Angela Santalari, is a student of mine in my criminal justice class. I've gotten to know her over the first few weeks of school. She is an actress as well and has been in school plays in the past. You might have seen her on the stage here in the auditorium. This year, the school play, as I understand it, is Romeo and Juliet coming up. A little plug for the theater department in mid-November, and Angela's going to be Juliet, so come on up, Angela.
It's good, yeah. Hi. I just want to say that it takes a lot to be inducted in Fairport's Alumni Hall of Fame. The board looks for individuals who have achieved distinction in their lives and have chosen fields after high school through significant contributions in their career, community, or through other personal achievements. Yesterday, I had the opportunity and pleasure of meeting Dr. Mickey LaLopa and learning about his outstanding achievements when it came to his career, his dedication to his students, and how he survived high school at FHS some short 45 years ago. When Dr. LaLopa was a student at FHS, he never saw himself as later going on to earn a PhD in human resource management and becoming a professor at Purdue University. Instead, he saw himself as going on to be a professional photographer, for that was his passion, and when he was a student here at FHS. In fact, when taking a math exam in high school, he filled out the little bubbles on his Scantron to make a picture. Somehow he still walked away with a score of 15. However, as life went on, he found a love in teaching and educating others. When talking to Dr. LaLopa, he made it extremely clear that his students were number one and that he loved having the ability to reach out to his kids and other young adults. One of his many accomplishments was traveling across the United States for around 10 years to teach other chefs how to become teachers and share their practice. He even created a magazine known as Chef Educator Today that once circulated to every culinary program in the U.S. in hopes of creating better teachers around the nation. From what I hear, Dr. LaLopa is also quite the chef himself. I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow found his way on the Food Network battling Bobby Flay or maybe even becoming a Chopped champion. However, he might not have the time to battle Bobby Flay because instead he's battling sexual harassment in education. His recent groundbreaking studies have impacted many students' lives by bringing awareness to an unfortunate problem that exists in learning and working environments. He stands for gender equality for his 3 daughters and wife, and fights for women to have the right to come to work or school and not have to fear being sexually harassed. Dr. LaLopa is currently working his hardest to protect their Title IX rights and isn't afraid of challenging authority. In fact, when he attended FHS in his senior year, he and some friends put some farm animals, from what I understand, goats, in the courtyard with the principal and vice principal's name taped on them. Another prank involved pushing a car into the library. Needless to say, he was and still is audacious. When we toured the school yesterday, we went on a journey to the past, and he informed me that FHS used to have a donut machine that would make fresh donuts every morning. It's gone now, it's fine. And our school's hallways were once carpeted. 45 years ago, you could find Mickey in the art hallways of Fairport High School in the dark room outside of what used to be called Hippie Hallway because it was the 70s. So much has internally changed throughout the years in Fairport. However, students like Dr. LaLopa are what keep our community the same in the sense of Raider spirit. What truly makes him extraordinary is that he never let himself be defined by what he couldn't do. In high school, he struggled with math, but that never stopped him from going on and eventually earning a PhD. And when traveling to other countries, he broke stereotypes and refused to let negative media influence his relationships with other cultures. He believes that if more Americans traveled, there would be less fear of other people. Similar to how he found his friend group in high school, he included everyone. Instead of joining cliques, he befriended diverse groups of people, not showing prejudice or animosity when it came to hanging out with jocks or thespians, making him truly the ultimate Red Raider. Dr. Lalopa believes that Fairport is, and I quote, one hell of a community. There is something special about Fairport's maintained character, and the teachers are a large part of that. When he was a student here, he looked up to Mr. Shaw, an English teacher who blew him away with his jacked teaching style and acting skills. Now Dr. Lalopa creates an environment that's fun and humorous for his students at Purdue University. From my short encounter with Dr. Mickey Lalopa, I had the chance to meet a sincerely humble, altruistic, inspiring, and driven individual who even has so many accomplishments I couldn't fit them in this 5-minute speech. But his actions and beliefs are what make Fairport an exceptional community, and it is my honor to introduce you to the newest member of Fairport Alumni's Hall of Fame, Dr. Mickey Lalopa.
Well, I guess we know now who put the farm animals in the courtyard. That's been a mystery for a long time. Thank you. Angela, great job. Our next presenter is Jake Provenzano, and Jake's a wonderful young man. I have him in my criminal justice class, and I really enjoyed getting to know him. He has a huge heart. He's a hard-working guy. He has self-discipline. He also just got back from Washington, D.C. on the leadership trip, and he also just arrived from a football game that Fairport wound up winning. So it's always good to win on homecoming, and you guys are doing awesome, Jake. And when I asked Jake to, if he wanted to get involved with this, and he said, absolutely, but, you know, I've got the football game, and I don't know if I get time to change or whatever. And Jake, I just want you to know, we don't care. We actually appreciate what you're wearing today. So come on up, Jake Provenzano.
Let's figure this out. Maybe I can go without the mic. You sure? Yeah. So sorry I'm late. Oh, I wasn't late, but sorry I look like this. Feel so underdressed, but just coming from a game. Hopefully you understand. So our next inductee is Mr. Joe Manhertz, who graduated from Fairport High School in 1992. And after his time in Fairport, he lived in Colgate, Columbus, Syracuse, and currently North Carolina. Mr. Manhertz's greatest achievements include reorganizing the Syracuse athletic department at a young 26 years of age and accomplishing the same of Duke a decade later. He is currently an associate athletic director at Duke University, where he focuses on fundraising and sport administration for the baseball and track and field teams. While we celebrate his tremendous accomplishments, the conversation Mr. Manhertz and I had yesterday was primarily centered around the foundation and morals that enabled him to succeed rather than success itself. Mr. Manhertz credits his success primarily to the love and support he received from his parents at a very early age, stating, "My mom taught me to love and be friendly to people, while my dad instilled work ethics." Mr. Manhertz cultivated these traits from his parents throughout his time at Fairport and throughout his successful career. Mr. Manhertz was impacted by his love for sports, specifically Fairport sports. Throughout his time at Fairport, he played defensive end in football and power forward in basketball. During our conversation, Mr. Manhertz made it very clear that playing sports taught him life lessons, his experience being no different playing for Coach Santini and Coach Fitch. He shared that his best memories of high school included pregame and halftime speeches and the camaraderie among his teammates before and after practice. These are similar and unique experiences that bind us all together as one Raider family. He also emphasized that his coaches taught him to believe in others and in himself, fostered a team culture, and instilled many vital life lessons and skills. Specifically, Coach Wyman's frequent saying of, "Don't cheat on me, Joey," enabled Mr. Manhertz to continue to develop a strong work ethic and a sense of ambition. This ambition is exemplified in his advice to current FHS students, which is to fully relish the Fairport High School experience and to go get it, don't wait. Embrace the experience offered in school, understanding that we will all be better for it. Furthermore, Mr. Manhertz mentioned that the support and love from the entire Fairport community was instrumental in his development. Despite being an African-American man in a predominantly white area, the love and support from the community, his peers, and their families, Mrs. Fitch in particular, made him feel truly at home. The teachers at FHS also made a profound impact on Mr. Manhertz, always pushing him to be the best he could and embodying a clear passion for their students and teaching. After discussing the Fairport community and its impact, my conversation with Mr. Manhertz then shifted to the importance of leadership and the qualities of leaders. He told me that in any environment, leaders are essential in order to accomplish tasks, and the most important qualities of leaders are effort and energy. The effort and energy displayed by leaders is contagious and will help inspire and connect others. Mr. Manhertz also shared with me his favorite quote. being the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in a time of comfort and convenience, but in controversy, which is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The best leaders are those who continue to exemplify effort and energy through hardship and use the defining attributes to unite others to greater feats. I'll close my introduction of Mr. Manhertz with his powerful response when I asked him what accomplishments he was most proud of. Rather than mentioning his great work at various colleges, he was quick to discuss his two children, how he cherished teaching and raising them. And he also loved making his mother proud every day as a form of retribution to her for the many sacrifices she made raising him. He also mentioned that professionally speaking, he is most content and proud when he witnesses his proteges achieve success. This is a true testament to his selfless and humble attitude, stemming from the love he received from his parents, coaches, and teachers at the Fairport community. It is my honor to introduce to you the newest member of the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, Mr. Joe Manhertz.
Folks, the class of 2018, congratulations. I'd also like to thank Bill Tiberio and the jazz band for coming in and sharing some great music. I want to thank each and every one of you students. I am so proud of you. You guys just deliver, and it's just incredible. So thank you so much. We are so lucky in Fairport to have these kids. Just wanted you to know, after this ceremony, there is a reception just down by the auditorium, in between the auditorium and the gym, right where the electronic board is. And I'll ask every member to head down with their respective student, and we'll get some pictures. We have some food down there for you guys, and it's kind of a meet and greet. And I'm seeing so many familiar faces in the audience. I want to thank everybody who came out today. And just so that the new class can see how many inductees are here, I'm going to ask you, if you've been inducted to the Fairport Alumni Wall of Fame, if you could please just stand up if you're in the audience. Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you down by the auditorium. Thanks, everybody.